Stop trying to become and simply be. These words by Klein do not ask you to do something, they ask you to stop. Most of our life is built upon effort, the effort to improve, to evolve, to change ourselves. Even in spirituality, we carry the same tendency to become more peaceful, to become more conscious, to become enlightened. But this movement, this constant becoming, is the very veil that hides what is already here. Klein spoke of silence, not just the absence of sound, but the stillness that remains when all effort stops. He invited us to observe this simple truth. That presence is not something to be achieved. It is something to be recognized. When you stop trying to be someone, you begin to notice that being is already here. The one who wants to become is a thought, a habit of mind, not your essence. Look now, without trying to look. Be still, without making stillness a goal. In that simplicity, in that total surrender of becoming, you meet yourself, not as a name, not as a history, but as awareness itself. The ego lives in time. It thrives in the story of what was and what might be. But the self, the reality Klein pointed to, is timeless, already full, already free. The moment you stop reaching for some future state, you begin to notice the subtle joy of simply existing. It's not dramatic. It doesn't arrive with fireworks. It reveals itself in the gaps, between thoughts, between breaths, between identities. Presence is not an achievement. It is what remains when the mind becomes quiet, even for a moment. This is why so many seekers miss it. They are too busy searching to see that they are already what they seek. The mind always wants to add something, another insight, another technique, another layer of identity. But what if there's nothing to add? What if the truth is found through subtraction, the peeling away of all that is false? Klein never gave you something to hold. He gave you space. He pointed to the open sky of your being, not a new belief, but a direct seeing. This being is not passive. It is alive, alert, deeply intelligent. But it has no name. It does not need to prove itself. It does not need to be better than anyone. It simply is. And from that isness, peace flows. Not the peace of escape, but the peace of total inclusion, of embracing life exactly as it is, without the need to change, to fix, or to improve. There is an immense freedom in this, not because you have become something, but because you have stopped becoming anything at all. Look around you. Everything in nature simply is. The tree is not trying to become a better tree. The bird is not striving for a future awakening. They move, they breathe, they rest, rooted in what is, not in what could be. This is not a call to inaction, but to a deeper kind of action, one that arises from clarity, not from anxiety. When there is no inner conflict, actions flow with grace and precision. Klein often invited his students into silence, not as an escape, but as a revelation. A space where all seeking dissolves and what remains is beyond thought, beyond self-image, beyond becoming. There is a rhythm to life that cannot be forced. It is already unfolding in perfect harmony. But the ego, in its insecurity, tries to override it. That tension, that striving, that constant becoming is what creates the suffering. The moment you stop, truly stop, you may sense something subtle but vast, a quiet awareness that does not need to change. It does not argue. It does not rush. It just sees. And in that seeing, You remember something ancient, something so intimate it was never truly lost, only covered. The ego says, I must do more, be more, find more. But the truth gently whispers, there is nothing to become, you already are. This realization is not intellectual. It cannot be grasped by the mind because the mind lives in time, in memory and projection. But being is timeless. It doesn't begin or end. It doesn't need permission. Klein would point not to ideas, but to direct experience. Feel your breath. Sense your body from within, not to control it, but to become aware of the spaciousness in which it appears. Notice the stillness behind all movement. That stillness is not boredom. It is life itself, undisturbed. When you are no longer caught in the identity of the one who becomes, you begin to taste something else, freedom, simplicity, a joy without cause. And you see, you were never separate, you were never lacking. The peace you longed for was the longing itself calling you home. There is no need to chase the light. You are the light. And in stillness it shines effortlessly. Stop trying to become, and simply be.